A dirty old man's trying to get some in a world that makes no sense. And no, I'm not talking about me. I'm Adam Scott, and this is Leisure Suit Larry, Wet Dreams Don't Dry.
Oh yeah, she likes that.
Leisure Suit Larry, Wet Dreams Don't Dry is the 9th original game in the series, developed for the first time by CrazyBunch for PC, Switch, PS4, and Xbox One. For this review, I played the PS4 version on my PS5. Going in, I was skeptical about the developers CrazyBunch taking on such a beloved franchise without the involvement of the original creator Al Lowe, and setting it in the present day. After all, most of the team wasn't even born when the first game was released. But my fears were quickly put to rest when the first thing you had to do was prove you're old enough to play the game. This took me right back to Leisure Suit Larry 3 with the same style of age verification system, only it's been updated with current events. It's possible to bypass the quiz, but it was a nice little throwback that sets the tone for what's to come. This promising start left me eager to see how faithful the rest of the game would be to the spirit of Sierra's classic series. And thankfully, not only is it a worthy successor, but an entertaining and surprisingly solid point-and-click adventure in its own right. We've all seen outdated concepts crash and burn when brought to modern audiences. I'm looking at you, Duke Nukem Forever. So I wondered how Leisure Suit Larry's over-the-top sexual objectification of women from the 80s would work these days. A dirty old man leering at anything with a pulse? This should feel gross. And yeah, at times it does, but the development team smartly approached how they dragged Larry kicking and screaming into the present.
I feel like I've been sleeping for ages.
We open in a dark underground chamber with a calendar showing the year 1987. Larry thinks he's waking up after a one-night stand. Oh, that's so Larry. But after exploring the strange surroundings and talking with Lefty at his bar, you realize somehow Larry has woken up over 30 years later. The game revolves around Larry coming to grips with his 80s sensibilities in a more modern culture and technology. I really like the way the developers handled this fish-out-of-water premise. It would have been easy to just criticize Larry as a Neanderthal with outdated ideas, but instead, it holds a mirror to how society has changed over the years, for good and bad.
Limited edition vintage camera from Prune. And they only made a very few.
For every reminder of gender equality, there's a jab about our selfie culture, or the rise of consumerism. It's smart and funny, and it strikes just the right balance. Now, if you were worried the game would stray too far from the gags, innuendo, and smut that built the franchise, fear not. Larry is essentially on a sex quest.
That's as it should be.
Pretty early on, he meets Faith Les, the hottest woman in the game and assistant to BJ, the head of the Prune Corporation. Faith doesn't date anyone below a score of 90 on the Timber app, and his lust for her means he has to hook up left and right to increase his score. So, Larry has to travel to all sorts of strange places, talk to insane characters, and collect tons of mostly adult-themed items. What you do with all those items makes up the bulk of the gameplay, and is pretty much what you'd expect from a point-and-click adventure game. The things you collect, let's just say they don't hold back.
Oh, that dildo there smells like really old cheese.
Don't expect anything groundbreaking, but it's well executed and feels incredibly familiar and approachable. Some necessary objects are very small and well hidden, so you'll need to scan every scene carefully to make sure you don't miss anything. You can cycle between objects of interest with the triggers, which is a great way to make sure you don't miss a thing. At times, new items appear at previously visited locations after completing certain tasks, so there's a fair bit of backtracking needed.
The only place that would be useful would be in a kart race.
Please don't sue us.
At first, the interface is just a simple notepad with the home menu and inventory icons. Once you get the Pi phone, you'll use that going forward to access different apps, like the Unter app, which can take you all over the map. Most of the puzzles feel really well balanced, requiring just a bit of logic to solve them. You can combine items easily enough, but with the tons you'll collect, trying to brute force solutions by combining everything would take years.
Billions and billions.
Right, so you'll need to pay attention to what people say and the item descriptions to figure out how to use them. The clues are there, you just need to think creatively to progress. Now, there are a few puzzles that are a bit clunky, usually when you need to complete steps in a specific order when you already know the solution, or when you have to examine items before you can use them, even if it's the right one, making you assume you did something wrong. It also can feel like padding at times, going back and forth multiple times to the same few locations, talking to the same people only to have them give you that one nugget of information you need to progress. I get it, it's a point-and-click adventure, but to visit a location for a single line of dialogue, only to go to a second, a third, and a fourth for single dialogue lines, it wears a little thin. And why doesn't Larry use his freaking phone to call people?
It's best not to think about it.
Having said that though, I actually had a blast. The writing smartly makes all of the side characters the perfect foil for Larry's out-of-touch persona. The spoofs on current technology are always amusing. Your dating app is Timber, Instacrap is the social media feed, and PrunePal to pay for things. Larry's baffled by everything, leading to a lot of funny moments where he's figuring out the insanity we're constantly surrounded by these days.
The authentic air from the 70s is gone.
You'll use Instacrap to record all of the crap in Larry's adventure, just like in real life. These are presented as a series of GIFs, which are awesome. My favorite is unquestionably the Screunicorn. You heard me. After each date, you'll be notified of new connections on Timber. These are pure Leisure Suit Larry, like Maxim Payne. I freaking love it. You get the idea? The jokes don't always land, but you'll be entertained the whole time. The locations are varied, featuring quirky and memorable scenes and characters, and also a lot of, members, wherever you end up. There's a lot of references to the legacy of the franchise everywhere, and a number of nods to other point-and-click adventure games throughout as well, such as King Graham in the Underground Lab, and Purple Tentacle in the Leisure Suite. You could even see a silhouette of the Sierra logo in one scene, which was a cool touch. The environments are colorful, hand-drawn, and bursting with details and animations. There's no nudity, unless you count the statues, blow-up dolls, oh yeah, and of course the most beautiful woman ever laying just above the bar. But that doesn't mean the game isn't raunchy as hell, pretty much constantly.
Hello?
Larry?
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 Larry.
The characters you meet along the way are as varied as they are funny. Lefty is old, wise, and is often just as baffled by new technology as Larry, but he provides a lot of useful information. The nerds at Prune Inc. are helpful as long as you get them what they want, like the Sleaze War figurine with removable bra, you know, the huge.
Oh my god, it's really her!
And Dick Ryder wants Larry to arrange his same-sex wedding to Lance.
Richard Ryder, male model. You can call me Dick.
And there's a ton more. Everyone is engaging and fun to interact with, and totally fit the characters throughout the series. And then there's Larry, who of course dons his signature leisure suit and gold chains, but he's not quite as pathetic as he was in the past. For one, he's taller, thinner, and with more hair. Also, that leisure suit isn't quite the symbol of an aging loser that it was in the 80s. But make no mistake, he's still a loser. He's constantly trying and failing to get the girls. If you leave him idle, he'll strike a pose or take a hit of breath spray or something else equally lame. Nice touch. The voice acting is great throughout. Jan Rabson once again voices Larry and is as sharp and funny as ever.
The club should be overjoyed to have someone like me as a guest.
Why don't we just agree on no?
The original theme music is nowhere to be heard, I assume due to copyright issues, but a decently catchy tune plays in the menu. And each location has its own musical theme, like the mariachi music when you visit Cancun. You heard me.
Everyone thought he was gone, forgotten, and many said this was a good thing. But the chosen one from the prophecy lives.
And the sound effects are the cherry on top, like the zipper opening when you continue from the main menu. You can expect between 5 to 8 hours of gameplay, give or take, based on how fast you figure out the puzzles and how much backtracking you need to do. While generally linear, you can work some objectives simultaneously to save time. It would have been nice to have something that tracks everything you need to do since there isn't a hint system. You can do everything and get all the trophies in a single playthrough, but there are some things you'll need to do before the story progresses too far, mostly involving finding various hidden objects in the background, or things like making a decision, reloading a save, and making the alternate decision. But overall, it's a pretty easy platinum trophy for you completionists. If you're a fan of the series, you'll have a blast. Any concerns about changing up the formula too much can be put to rest. And if you've always been curious to check it out, this is a great entry point into the genre, assuming you're okay with sex jokes. So if you want a lighthearted, colorful, and hilarious time, look no further than Leisure Suit Larry Wet Dreams Don't Dry, proving if you dream it, they will come. Alright, you've heard my take on Leisure Suit Larry Wet Dreams Don't Dry, and I'd love to hear yours as well. Also, what's your favorite adventure game? Let's talk about it in the comments down below. If you liked the video, hit like and subscribe, and if you want another game that you haven't played, check out my video right here. I want to thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.